Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And this is my first impressions look on the Jordan Zion 1. So this shoe is going for 120 bucks. So I guess it's like kind of mid-tier pricing, but also kind of like on the border of budget pricing, right? So 120 bucks isn't super expensive, but also not super cheap. And this is Zion's first signature shoe with Jordan brand. You know, of course, he signed that massive deal last year, I believe, with Jordan brand. So now here's his signature shoe. If you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. I believe it's available on like Foot Locker or like Eastbay or something like that. If not, it'll be available on Nike.com pretty soon, in a couple of weeks, I believe. So stay tuned for that. But let's get it started off with the tracciones, and the traction is decoupled, right? So here we have one piece here in the forefoot and we have one piece here in the heel, and we have a very chaotic traction pattern. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, like a little maze or something. And then this pink part, you know, it's a solid rubber outsole, and then this white part is also solid rubber. And then we have a little pivot point here where the ball of your foot is with the Jordan Jumpman logo. And then also we got some like names. It says like Sharonda, Coach Noah, Tyreek. So probably people that are important to Zion. So how does the traction feel? The traction feels okay. There is absolutely no squeak, which sucks. I feel kind of sad that there is no squeak, because usually I like to have a squeak in my ball shoes, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be bad, right? It seemed to have a pretty good bite on my wood floors, so I'm pretty excited about that. And as far as the durability goes, it seems like it's gonna be good. You know, the grooves seem a little shallow, just a tiny bit, but the rubber is super hard. So I feel like it's actually gonna be very, very durable. So the traction is looking pretty good so far. And as far as the heel to toe transition, it feels pretty nice, right? So here in the heel, we have a crazy curve shape. I absolutely love it. It reminds me of like the 0.2, you know, the Why Not 0.2 Russell Westbrook signature shoe. And then here in the forefoot, we have a crazy curve as well. Crazy curve. Look at that, you know? So we have a nice, crazy rocking motion from heel to toe. Feels like it's gonna be very, very nice. And we have a lot of forefoot flex. So I'm liking the heel to toe transition so far. One thing that has me worried though is the midfoot shank plate, right? So as you guys can see, there's Zion's logo here, I guess in the middle of the outsole. But, you know, we saw from the dismantling that there was a midfoot shank plate. You know, it was a very, very small rectangular plastic piece here in the midfoot. But look at that. Look at that. All right, so I don't know how the torsional support, you guys see that? I don't know how the torsional support's gonna be, but I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of shoes that Nike's had where they've had it like this, and I really didn't have any problems with that, but that is something to watch out for. All right, moving on to the cushion. The cushion is easily my favorite part about the Zion 1, right? So we have a full-length Air Strobel unit, which I absolutely love. As you guys know, I love Air Strobel. And then we have a bottom-loaded forefoot zoom unit, right? So how does that feel? It feels pretty much like the PG4. The PG5, on the other hand, for some reason, is actually not that soft. Even though like the Air Strobel is right underneath your foot, I seriously don't know what they did. I feel like they maybe lowered the PSI in it. I don't know what they did, but comparing, you know, I had the PG4 on one foot and the Zion 1 on the other foot, and it felt very, very similar to the PG4. Also in the forefoot, I didn't really feel that much of a bounce from the zoom unit. I felt more of like the compression from the like the Air Strobel unit, and then maybe I felt a little bit of bounce from the zoom unit, but I don't know, I feel like it might be like placebo, because, you know, I know that there's a zoom unit in the forefoot, but like comparing it with the PG4, I felt like, you know, it was actually really similar and very comparable to the PG4. I don't know, we'll have to see. I feel like once I start playing in it and once I start like running around and sprinting around and stuff like that, I might be able to feel the zoom unit here in the forefoot a little bit more. But as of right now, it feels very similar to the PG4, and that is not a bad thing. I love the Air Strobel unit here in the PG4. Also, the foam that they're using, it's probably just a Phylon, but there is a good amount of compression and it is quite soft, especially here in the heel. It is pretty exposed. I mean, here in the back of the heel and also here on the medial side of the heel, it is pretty caged, but on the lateral side, it allows for a little bit of compression. Also here in the forefoot, there is a good amount of compression too from the foam. So that feels nice. It doesn't feel clunky or anything. And the cushioning setup feels really nice. I would say the court feel is pretty good, not the best. Actually, very similar to the PG4. So a little bit higher up than average, but you know, I mean, you're getting Air Strobel. So also the insole is made of like a pretty thick foam material, so that also helps improve step and comfort. Plus the Air Strobel unit, it's a really comfortable shoe. Alright, moving on to the material. So here in the forefoot, we have basically like this mesh material. It's super duper thin. There's a lot of holes in it. And then underneath that, it seems like there is another textile material, which is also extremely thin. So this material feels really thin and very minimal on foot. Here in the toe box, we have a good amount of fuse for extra added durability. Obviously, if you do toe drags, because this mesh material is super thin, like I mentioned. And then coming up here into the midfoot area, it stays extremely thin. There is a good amount of fuse as well. And then as you guys can see from these 4 eyelets, we have some lace loops, right? So these lace loops are free flowing actually. So once you tighten the laces, these loops kind of tighten around like this forefoot area, and it feels pretty nice. And also, of course, that'll help with support. And then moving on to the ankle area, we have like in this colorway, this fuse, like metallic colored fuse, looks really cheap and very like not nice, you know. In the other colorways, I feel like it looks a little bit better. I think it's just in this colorway, but we have a good amount of fuse here in the ankle area. And then here in the back of the heel, we have Zion's logo with a pull tab. As far as the tongue goes, the tongue is extremely thin. There's really no padding at all besides, I guess, here on the top. But like around the tongue, it's really thin. And then where the actual padding is there's not a lot of padding. So, I mean, it's not super cozy or anything. And then here in the ankle area though, especially here on top where the ankle collar is, there is a good amount of padding, and that feels nice on the ankle and also in the back of the heel. But for the most part, the material is super thin, extremely minimal on foot, and it feels pretty nice. I mean, it is 120 bucks, so I guess you can't really complain on like the quality of the material. I definitely feel like the durability of this material isn't going to be the best, but on foot, like I said, it feels very minimal. Alright, moving on to the fit, it fits me very well. So I went true to size, and my toes pretty much go right to the edge of the shoe. So true to size should be good for most people. It is a little snug, so if you don't like to have your foot right at the edge, probably go up half a size. And as far as the toe space goes, it is pretty snug, and width-wise, I would actually say it's very narrow, right? So I can feel the foam. You see, as you guys can see, this foam kind of like squeezing the side of my foot a little bit. It doesn't hurt or anything, but I definitely feel that squeezing. So if you have a wide foot or you like to have a roomier fit, I would suggest going up half a size as well. Alright, as far as the support and lockdown goes, okay, so for lateral stability, you guys want to see this crazy ass outrigger. You guys see that? Look at how much the outsole and the midsole protrude out here in the forefoot. So I feel like every shoe should have this. I don't know why a lot of shoes don't. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, lateral stability is very important, and you don't want to roll your ankles, especially when you're jumping around a lot in a sport of basketball, you know? So this is very important, I feel like, and you have a very wide, very flat, and also very low to the ground base. So I wonder which one is wider. Let's compare it to the PG4 actually. Yeah, so the Zion one is actually probably around like 7 to 10 millimeters wider. Zion's actually, this is very wide. So lateral stability, I feel like it's going to be good. And as far as the lateral containment goes, so here in the forefoot, the foam actually comes up a little bit, acting as a sidewall, and like I mentioned before, we have these straps. I don't really know how much the strap's gonna do, because the material still feels a little like, not flimsy, but it like rolls over on itself a little bit. So we'll have to see on the lateral containment here in the forefoot. But here in the heel, as you guys can see, like the foam, it's kind of like this burgundy color. It comes up a good amount, acting as a sidewall, and we have an internal TPU heel counter. So you're locked in here in the heel and in the midfoot. I'm just a little bit worried about the forefoot. Alright, moving on to the weight of the shoe. I feel like it's gonna be pretty light actually. Maybe like 12 ounces. So 12.13 ounces. That's a little bit lighter than average. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So that's good, man. I mean, Zion is very big. He's a really heavy dude, super strong. But then they gave him a very light feeling shoe, and I really like it. I'm here for that. I mean, you don't need a heavy shoe to make a supportive shoe, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I am a little bit worried about the forefoot support, so we'll have to see on that. And but hopefully Zion doesn't bust through his own signature shoe. That would be a little bit embarrassing. But you know, I trust Jordan Brand. They know what they're doing as far as design goes for shoes. And yeah, I really like how they kept it super light and very minimal feeling. As far as the aesthetics go, I like it. I'm not a huge fan of this colorway with the pink and burgundy and white, and then especially the silver or like this metallic finish on this fuse. I really don't like that. I wish they would have just kept it white, and it would have looked a lot better in my opinion. But the overall silhouette's dope, and the 3 other colorways that are coming out look a lot better than this one. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, it's looking really nice. You know, the traction seems solid. I don't think it's gonna be like top tier traction, but I feel like it's gonna be pretty damn good. The cushion I really like. As you guys all know, I absolutely love the PG4 cushion. The materials seem very thin and minimal. Support seems like it's gonna be there, and it fits me really well. And it's pretty cheap for 120 bucks. So I'm liking the shoe so far. One thing I am looking forward to though is breaking in the forefoot a little bit and having it a little bit bouncier, and hopefully I can feel the zoom unit a little bit more so that the forefoot's a little bit bouncier. But other than that, everything's looking good so far, and I guess besides the forefoot support for lateral containment. But that's it. You know, everything else is looking really, really good. So again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.